Hey everybody, Derek here from BOM Socks with another day of BOM Bites where we feast upon the words of Christ and we do it one bite at a time. So I want to introduce you to a place called Far West, Missouri. Okay, so as a lot of the saints are starting to move from Kirtland, they're starting to head to a place called Far West. You see kind of where it's at here. You go all the way from down from Kirtland to Far West, Missouri. This is a significant place in church history, which we'll continue to talk about over the next couple weeks. But there's two sections that are given here right at the beginning. Section 113 of the Doctrine and Covenants, which is kind of unique because it was given, it says, at or near Far West, Missouri in March of 1838. So this is several months after this Kirtland apostasy and the saints are starting to get themselves to Missouri. There's kind of a cool thing in Come Follow Me about section 113. It says Joseph Smith was a servant in the hands of Christ. So Isaiah referred to one of Jesse's descendants as a rod and a root. In section 113, the Lord explains that this descendant, a servant of Christ, would be instrumental in gathering the Lord's people in the last days. A prophecy that describes the prophet Joseph Smith quite well. And this statement is so cool in light of what we've talked about the last few days. How might this and other truths in section 113 have been encouraging to saints during the turmoil they're experiencing in Kirtland? What do you find in this revelation that inspires you to participate in the work of the Lord today? It's a great statement because if they would have understood really who Joseph was, because all of the difficulties in Kirtland, whether it's the Kirtland Safety Society that we talked about, whether it's just the other things that are going on there, the pride that takes people's focus off of the fact that Joseph Smith is a prophet of God. As flawed and as human as he was a prophet of God. And so I love that section right there, how it reminds you of that. Now, another part of this Far West is section 114, massive section 114. You look how big this section is. We have 2 verses, right? This is to a man by the name of David W. Patton. Now, what's kind of cool, David W. Patton had a nickname. Check out this nickname. His name was Captain Fear Not. How would you like to be able to have that as your nickname? So we're going to read the entire section of section 114. It just says, "Verily, thus saith the Lord, it is wisdom in my servant David W. Patton," again, he was a member of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles at the time, "that he settle up all of his business as soon as he possibly can, make a disposition of his merchandise, that he may perform a mission unto me next spring." So this is April. So the following spring, meaning 1839, in company with others, even 12, including himself, to testify of my name, to bear glad tidings unto all the world. For verily, thus saith the Lord, that inasmuch as there are those among you who deny my name, others shall be planted in their stead and receive their bishopric. Meaning right around this time period, you got people who are leaving the church, and the Lord's like, they leave, we will find someone else. And again, in a very loving and kind way. If they deny my name, others shall be planted in their stead. Well, here's what's interesting. That prophecy to David W. Patton is a very interesting one because in the fall of 1838, hostilities and persecutions again increased against the saints in Missouri. On October 24th, a mob kidnapped 3 of the saints, apparently planning to kill them that night. On hearing this, a local judge named Elias Higby, a member of the church, ordered Lieutenant Colonel George M. Hinkle of the state militia, also a member of the church, to organize a group of men to disperse the mob and rescue the prisoners. 75 men gathered at midnight with Captain Fear Not, David W. Patton, as their captain. Elder Patton hoped to surprise the mob and rescue the prisoners without the loss of blood. But as the men approached Crooked River, this is called the Battle of Crooked River in church history, a hidden member of the mob fired a single shot. Patrick O'Banion, a member of the Saints militia, fell. Captain Patton, who led 15 men away from the rest of the group, heard the shot and led a charge toward the area. A quick fight ensued and several men were wounded. Gideon Carter died instantly. Patrick O'Banion died later that night, and Elder Patton was also among the wounded. Elder Patton died several hours after the battle. His faith in the restored gospel was such that he had once expressed to the prophet Joseph Smith a desire to die the death of a martyr. The prophet, greatly moved, expressed extreme sorrow. "For," said he to David, "when a man of your faith asks the Lord for anything, he generally gets it." So just before Elder Patton's funeral in Far West, Joseph Smith pointed to Elder Patton's body and said, "There lies a man that has done just as he said he would. He has laid down his life for his friends." So what's interesting is following the Lord's counsel can prepare us for unexpected events. Now, here's an interesting statement because David W. Patton did not know he was going to die. The Lord did. So he said he will perform a mission for me in the next spring. So this is kind of a tough question, but when have you followed the Lord's counsel and found that it actually prepared you for something that you had not expected? And again, that's kind of a tough one because some of us might be going through difficult trials and things that we don't know that it might be preparing us, kind of like the way Zion's camp was. I think as these men went on Zion's camp, they didn't know that they were going to be future leaders. I don't think Brigham Young knew that he was going to be leading the saints west. So the Lord allows you to have experiences that are going to help you in the future. Now, a cool little thing about David W. Patton, when Elder Patton was on his deathbed, he spoke of some of his fellow saints, including members of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles who had not been faithful. He exclaimed, "Oh, that they were in my situation, for I feel that I have kept the faith. I have finished my course. Henceforth, there is laid up for me a crown," quoting Paul in the New Testament, "which the Lord, the righteous judge, will give me." Let me take you forward to a couple of verses to show you David W. Patton's mission the next spring. So section 124 of the Doctrine and Covenants has a couple of unique verses that shows you David W. Patton's mission. Now, section 124 is given in 1841, so this is 3 years later. But look at verses 18 and 19. "And again I say unto you that it is my will that my servant Lyman White should continue in preaching for Zion, in the spirit of meekness, confessing before me the world, and I will bear him up on his eagle's wings, and he shall beget glory and honor to himself unto my name, that when he shall finish his work, I may receive him unto myself, even as I did my servant David Patten, who is with me at this time." This is Jesus Christ speaking. Okay, I love that. So there's David Patten with Edward Partridge, another martyr who was there at the time, hanging out also, by the way, with Abraham. This is kind of a cool little thing right here. So David W. Patten is so faithful that on the other side, he is hanging out with all these faithful people. Now, down to verse number 130 as well. "David Patten have I taken unto myself. Behold, his priesthood no man taketh from him. But verily I say unto you, another may be appointed unto the same calling." So that's what happens on the earth is others are appointed in place, but that priesthood still continues. So it'd be interesting to see the mission that David W. Patten is performing that following spring on the other side. So anyway, I love how the Lord prepares us for these things that we may not necessarily know about, but he knows. And so I love the counsel that's given there, and I love the story there with Captain Fear Not. David W. Patton's a cool guy. So, hey, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing, and thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing all these messages this week. We love that. Make sure you go check out our amazing socks at BOM-BITES.com. You guys are great. Godspeed, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.